Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled meeting on January 10th, 2019. All I need is a voice vote. Roll call, please, on this one.
President Wells,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi.
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter.
Yes.
Okay, first agenda is a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Park Commissioners to sell not to exceed $2,600,000 in general obligation limited tax park bonds for park improvements.
So moved.
Second?
All right, I have to read this, right?
Yes.
Okay, the next agenda item for the the next agenda item for the Board of Park Commissioners is a public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Bond Issue Notification Act to receive public comments on the proposal to sell not to exceed $2,600,000 general obligation limited tax park bonds. May I have a motion to proceed to the public hearing and to continue the other business of the regular meeting upon the conclusion thereof?
I'll make that motion again.
So that was Ralph,
I second that motion.
and Bob seconds again. Moving forward, it has been moved and seconded that we open the public hearing and continue with the other business of the regular meeting upon the conclusion of the public hearing. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the secretary please call a roll?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi.
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter.
Yes.
President Wells.
Yes. Okay, the reasons for the proposed issuance of the bonds are for the payment of land condemned or purchased for parks, for the building, maintaining, improving, and protecting of the same and the existing land and facilities of the district, and for the payment of the expenses incident hereto. Do any of the commissioners wish to make any comments regarding this proposed bond issue? Do any of the commissioners wish to submit any written testimony concerning the proposed bond or issuance of the bonds? Does any of the public wish to present oral testimony or any public comments concerning the proposed issuance of the bonds? Does any of the public wish to present written testimony with respect to the proposed issuance of the bonds? All persons desiring to be heard have been given an opportunity to present oral and written testimony with respect to the proposed issuance of the park improvement bonds. May I please have a motion to finally, is that really in there?
Yes.
That's hysterical. May I please have a motion to finally adjourn this public hearing?
I'll make that motion finally.
I second that
Nicely
motion.
done. It has been moved and seconded to the public hearing be finally adjourned. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi.
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
President Wells.
Yes, the motion is carried and the hearing is finally adjourned. We will now proceed to the next agenda item. So the next agenda is approval of the minutes. I have minutes from December 13th, 2018 Committee of the Whole. We have December 13th, 2018 regular meeting. And we have December 13th, 2018 closed session meeting minutes.
Except the first two, we can just go aye.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so let's take the first two, which will be committee of the whole and regular meetings. I just need a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4C will go, I'll need a motion and a second for the December 13th, 2018 closed session meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Kathy, can you call roll?
Commissioner Bianchi.
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
President Wells.
Yes. Okay, we're at public communication. Do we have any comments from anyone in the audience? Listen, fair enough. Does anybody have any correspondence? Okay,
I just
Oh,
have the one,
go right ahead.
there's nothing to do with it. What are we supposed to do with it? I just have, this letter of recommendation, for the executive director position, so what are we supposed to do with it? File it? I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
would
now
say-
open to the public is what I'm saying, so
I would
we
say
need to
put
be
it in your
careful on
file.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if anybody was gonna read it or not.
I don't feel the need that we have to, right?
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, I did have, one thing, and two of the three people I met with are here, so I'm just gonna mention it. Not so much correspondence, but I met with three of the members of the Elk Grove Youth Football Board, two are here. and had some discussions, and I'm going to be meeting with Tammy later on to talk about that a little bit. I did talk to Tom Busby a little bit earlier this week, just to kind of follow up on that. And the general game plan right now is to go forward with the training that we're gonna be doing, and I can't remember the dates.
There's 2 dates, the 17th, which is a week from tonight, and then the 19th, which is
19th,
the
which is a
Saturday.
Saturday, right? We'll be setting a date for this soon, but we're also going to then call a meeting. We've been calling it the President's Meeting, but it's gonna be the Athletic Program Advisory Board meeting or something like that. We're gonna do our first one shortly after that training, so we can do some follow-up on the training, how things went. Maybe just talk about generally how things are going, and look for ways to keep moving forward and make this work as best as possible. So that's it.
So Commissioner Sauter, I have a question. So what are we going to do if one of the associate or program volunteers cannot be at either of the dates?
We actually had somebody inquire about that, and we don't know how many of those individuals there will be. So once we find out, then we can work with them to either do a private training, or we have it, the training's gonna be videotaped. So we will work with them to get that, so that they'll have an opportunity to view it
Okay.
and sign off on it, so that they did receive the training.
Very good, okay.
So on that same topic, there's 2 dates, the 17th and the 19th, correct? So there's no way I can make the 17th, but I will be at the 19th.
It's
So
the
if-
same training.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just because we're gonna see that same people that we kinda grew up with in the last couple months, right?
Okay,
Seen
yeah.
so much of them. So I don't know if anybody else can make the 17th as far as somebody on the board or.
I'll be
athletic committee.
there.
Okay, so at least one of us will be there for each,
That's my last night in town. I can't make the 19th. I'll be in Colorado.
and I can't make the 17th, so I'll be there the 19th.
Okay.
So if we have more than 2, then we have to have a special meeting documented.
Yeah, we'd have to,
So I just need to know if that's gonna happen.
I'll communicate with Executive Director Busby,
Okay,
let you know.
because I don't know.
But we
right
can
now.
have 2.
I don't know right
Right.
Were you
More
going
than-
to any of them?
No.
He's not going. Were you going to any? There you go. We're not gonna have more than 2.
okay, thank you.
Even if you go, so then you have to tell him. You can
Okay.
surprise us.
Okay, we're good with that? Okay, seeing no others or hearing no others, we'll go on to recommendations for acceptance and approval. Approval, 6A, approval of the purchase of 2 electric greens mowers from Burris Equipment for the total price of $68,462 through the National Joint Powers Alliance, NJPA. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? Maybe Tom, if you don't hear from us, maybe you can tell us what's going on with it.
Yeah, it's 2 greens mowers. We're replacing a 7-year-old unit and an 8-year-old unit. He's got it in there. They're both electric units. Going with the electric now just to keep the noise down a little bit. We've had some complaints in years past about, because we cut so early in the morning, you know, mowers are out there at 5:30, so with the electric mowers, they're virtually silent, so we don't have complaints from the residents with the electric mowers. But they're a piece of equipment that are used every day. Once the season gets going, they're out there every day, so.
Are these
essentially-
replacing the electric mowers we currently have?
Yes.
Or gas?
No, we had electric ones.
So these are not additional electric?
No, we're continuing with the electric ones. We replaced electric ones the last time because of the noise complaints we were
Right.
getting.
Well, how does that compare, because I know it was the first time that we went with the electric, how does it compare to what the life expectancy on the gas mowers? Now that we ran on.
We were getting about the same year, 7 to 8 years is a typical replacement schedule on these pieces of equipment. When, a couple of years back, we tried pushing things a little longer. The one is done this year is 8 years.
Okay.
But it's the electric, the batteries and stuff on them, you gotta replace a little more often.
Yeah, I was just curious on as far as between gas and electric, is it, that we've been happy with? I know we're doing it for the noise, but as far as the cost and.
Yeah, we haven't had any problems mechanically with them,
Okay.
so. It's just we do wanna get them in early because last year we had a couple pieces of equipment that we ordered early in the year that took a good 5 to 6 months to get as well. So that's why we're trying to get it in early, so we can make sure we get those for when the season's up and
Do
going.
we have any gas, greens mowers left?
Not mowers, no.
Nice.
You know, the fairway mower.
Did the
fairway
complaints
mowers,
go
all
away?
For the most part, when we do something differently with the maintenance schedule, that's when we'll hear
Right.
something. You know, a couple times this year, we had, you know, flooding or something where we couldn't get out and cut greens, so we did some other maintenance, and that's where we heard something. It was something out of the ordinary that people weren't used to. So,
Fair enough. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Sauter,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi.
Yes.
President Wall.
Yes. 6B is the approval of the estimated cost, travel, meals, lodging for the 2019 IAPD/IPRA Annual Conference in January. 2019 for Commissioner Sauter at $387, Commissioner Cook at $555, and Commissioner O'Malley at $220.
So moved.
Second.
Any,
I'd like to make an amendment to the
Sure.
motion. I'm not gonna be needing the per diem, I'm only gonna, come in after work Friday evening, and so I'm not gonna be staying through Saturday or Sunday.
So there'll be a lower amount.
So
so
take the
we're
387 off.
subtracting the 387, right?
Right.
Okay. So who made the motion?
I did.
Amended, right?
That'd be
As
fine.
amended, yeah.
Second.
Okay, no other conversations, can we get a roll call?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Bianchi,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter,
Yes.
President Wall.
Yes. Okay, items for information, Leisure Services update. Tammy Miller,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So we talked about the advisory boards. Our new year begins with the athletic leagues becoming a program. And as we just mentioned, through the letter of understanding, the advisory boards should be attending an orientation. And then those dates are, again, January 17th at 7 PM and January 19th at 9 AM. And those orientation trainings will be held at the Hattendorf Center. They're basically, the orientation's about processes, and processes ranging from employment to finance to marketing to technology. So members of the management team will be presenting. It won't be just Tom or I or Jimmy or Brian. It will be members of our management team. So we will be filming that orientation so that if people need to view it, they will have a chance to do so. So speaking of athletics, registrations for our spring athletics have already begun. They began when our winter brochure came out, such as softball, baseball, and inline. However, they've had special walk-in registrations. Girls softball is going to be this Saturday, January 12th, and if somebody comes from now until January 12th until 1 PM, they will receive a discount on their registration, so that's what that walk-in registration will be, that special discount. Inline hockey's registration will be Saturday, January 26th from 9 to 1, and their discount will continue until the end of the month, January 31st. Indoor soccer is starting this Sunday, however, we're still taking new registrations. That indoor soccer program had low enrollment, so similar to last year, so it's gonna be more clinic-based than it is gonna be game-based. But there will be some scrimmages, and we wanna just get as many touches on the ball as we can with the kids. The fitness center has what we call the resolution solution. So if you've struggled in the past with your New Year's resolution, we have hopefully an answer for you. And that is a 6-week weight loss and fitness challenge. It'll begin on January 28th at the end of the month, and included in the registration is a small group training session one time per week for those 6 weeks, a seminar on nutrition, a t-shirt, and some weekly prizes. So the idea is to get with a small group and work with a trainer and start working on your fitness goals. The theater. We just finished auditions last night for our winter play, and our winter play is Peter Pan Jr. We had 35 participants audition, and we're gonna cast every one of them. That performance of our play will be 3 nights, March 8th, 9th, and 10th at Prairie Lakes Theater. So again, Peter Pan Jr., we're excited to start the practices. Preschool. Next Wednesday, January 16th, the Early Childhood Center is going to have an auditor come from NEPCA. NEPCA is the National Early Childhood Program accreditation. And this is because our accreditation is renewing. So they come in and they audit and make sure that we're still doing our standards. So that auditor is coming next Wednesday. Open house at the preschool is January 24th, and that's from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And so if folks are looking for an opportunity to place their children in our preschool, they can come visit our open house. And then preschool registration is February 2nd for Elk Grove residents, so it's coming up. On January 25th, it's a Saturday, our dance center will be presenting a winter showcase, and performances from our dance companies, as well as some of our technique classes will be featured. That's going to be at the Garden Terrace at 6:30 on January 25th. So I asked Pirates Cove and the Aquatic Center what they're doing as far as the number of staff that they are having returned back from last year. And I was told that all 6 managers at Pirates Cove are returning. And we've received letters from about 50% of the staff at Pirates Cove that they'll be returning. So we're still waiting on other responses. Ride attendance and character job postings have been going through HR, so we'll start the hiring process at the end of January, beginning of February for Pirates Cove. The aquatics department has started their summer recruitment, and we're verifying which staff are going to be coming back, and as well as our programming staff and our lesson instructors. So we will target those numbers for new hires needed at the end of the month, so we'll keep you posted on how many are coming back. I do know that there are 4 managers, seasoned managers returning at Rainbow, so I'm excited about that. The PAC, Pavilion Aquatic Center, hosted what we call a wellness boot camp this past month, and we had favorable reviews, so we're gonna offer an additional one later on in 2019. During the month of December, during the break, during the winter break, we were able to extend our hours of operation for the lagoon and the therapy pool. That was about 6 days of extended pool time, and I think it was well worth it, because I know that it was pretty busy during the holiday time. And finally, with our youth programming, Kim Laper, as most of you know, she had accepted a position with IPRA, so we have offered the position to Irene Fasciano, and she's our new youth manager. She was Kim's right-hand man, or right-hand person, I should say, and so she is not going to miss a beat with our youth programming. She will be coming to a February board meeting, probably on the 14th. She wanted me to let everybody know that we're accepting junior leader applications, which can be picked up at the Pavilion Customer Service Desk. And we have a teen night coming up Saturday, January 19th, and we have 2 snow tubing trips for tweens and teens coming up. So check out all that information in our brochure or online.
Any questions for Tammy?
No, I just would like to add, for your benefit, because you weren't on the email, the youth committee meeting for January 14th is going to be rescheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move forward.
I didn't know if you saw it.
I did.
You were busy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. You've had a lot of turnover in the legal services department. My take on it, that morale is down in that department. So if I'm wrong, then we do nothing. If I'm right, what is staff doing to change the morale? And have you had come up with a plan with the executive director, or am I totally off?
I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit surprised by the fact that you may think morale is down. I think if the morale is down, we do address it. But the people that have left have had opportunities to go to better themselves or to grow. So I'm pleased with the fact that those that have been with us for a long time are looking to grow and maybe find that opportunity in another place. So we did have a survey earlier in the year, and we addressed anything that somebody had a problem with. And I will always address it if there's an issue. But as far as the people that have left, I think they have, they're growing, and they're growing in either another organization or another position.
Absolutely. I understand they left to better themselves and they were solid employees. My question is, those that are left and some vacancies or rearranging, I guess it still boils down to my question. Do you think morale is down in the Leisure Services Department?
So again, the survey that I talked about earlier, there was a couple of comments that they said morale was down, so we addressed that.
Okay,
So since then, I've been very close with the staff and asking how things are going, and I have not heard that response since.
okay, maybe you and I can talk about it tomorrow, Tom, then, and you can fill me in on some of the details on how you're addressing it.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tammy? Okay. Parks and Planning update, Ben Curcio.
Okay, I have a couple updates. Yesterday, we had the kickoff meeting for the capital projects, which is, I invite everybody, not everybody in the whole district, but I invite everybody who has a lead or involvement in the projects coming up for 2019. So we had, 30 people in this room yesterday, and we spent about 30 minutes. It's a pretty quick meeting, asking, making sure the lead that's on the spreadsheet is correct, and if there are any questions for the projects, try to keep it to a minimum. So we were able to accomplish that, and we've had our kickoff meeting, and my staff has been working diligently getting project going and purchasing things that we need for the spring outdoor facilities. So the new capital season is upon us, and it's moving forward quickly. Outdoor ice rinks, they're doing a little bit better. They're not quite frozen. The weather is starting to cooperate, but again, this is a tough year for ice rinks. So unfortunately, we haven't had the cold weather we need to get them to freeze. So if we can get some cold weather, we'll keep them up and running. But typically mid-February, if they're not frozen, we start to consider closing them for the season, because the weather's not going to get any colder usually after that. We'll continue to address it. The last thing, obviously, you've seen staff removing holiday lighting around the pavilion and facilities. And then this is more for the board and the community. Colony Park Boardwalk did open a couple weeks ago, actually on my birthday in December, so a little longer than that. But we've had some minor setbacks with flooding of one of the section of the path. I met with the engineer today, and we believe there's some terrain resolutions we can do immediately. So we're actually going to go out there tomorrow and early next week, regrade some of the area built up from the construction that was kind of left by, just typical construction. So we got some good ideas on how to fix it immediately. Long term, without getting too in detail, there's an actual channel inside the wetland area that feeds the creek that runs along the whole property. The channel is completely, I would call it, overgrown with brush. And that channel, if it is not flowing properly, fills and backfills where that bridge is. So I have a plan already to clean out that channel, which will relieve that area and push the water to the creek and get it out of there. So that's the long-term plan. And so we apologize. We actually have sandbags out there now. The path was dry today, so it's usable. So we'll continue to monitor it until we get it fixed and move forward. And that concludes my report.
Are the fees being Park District, or are they going to that Brennan group? Was that, because that was part of that,
The fees for what?
Fixing it.
the fixing it?
So that would be on the Park District. So we have a contingency fund built into that, which they gave us. And so at this point in time, if there's any additional work, that would be on the Park District, but that's gonna be a very low cost item to
That's
do.
just
Just
one,
labor, right?
Yeah.
that's just one of my staff with the dingo pushing in the
Right.
dirt and getting it out of there. So
And they think that's gonna solve?
in the immediate, yes.
Okay.
Long term, once they get in there, which will be integrated lakes, and clean this channel, we actually walked it and got in there because it's hard enough because it froze overnight our last couple of nights. There's a channel, and I didn't know this, but the channel feeds from that area. The water from that area feeds into this channel that feeds into the creek. The problem is the channel is completely overgrown with brush. They're actually going to start the brush removal now. So in the next couple weeks, residents should start to see a piece of equipment in there starting to remove brush and clearing buckthorn. So the area is going to change quickly this year. You're going to be able to see your neighbors across the way because they're really going to start to remove stuff, and it's going to be an improvement well worth it.
And part of our agreement with Integrated Lakes is creek work. So
Yes.
just so you know
That's
that.
part of the scope.
Right.
Yeah.
And none of the stuff that's blocking that channel right now is gonna be, I mean, it's all invasive
Yes.
things that they were planning on taking out anyway.
Yes. Yeah, it's unbelievable how the area's never been touched, so that you can see the channel, but the grass is growing inside of it, and it's, the bush or the brush, and it's just, it's not, the water's not moving like it should, so. And it'll clean up that whole area, everything will move quicker and get out of there, once that's addressed.
Sounds good. Any questions for Ben? Okay, golf operations update, Tom Kloss.
January is a slower paced time for us, but a time that we utilize to get a lot of our planning and maintenance done for the upcoming season. Working on locking in our leagues for 2019, rebooking both past outings and new events, putting together our special events for 2019, lesson programs and all our junior golf related items, and then with the high schools, working with them to get their schedules and meets booked. It's time we address any building or maintenance repairs that may need to get taken care of before the spring and get those work requests in the park department. So this is a time where you're gonna see a few more requests for things, painting or touch-up work, some ceiling repairs, things like that, that might have got pushed back a little bit. On the grounds maintenance end, they're spending most of their time right now with mower maintenance. They've got all their mowers taken apart, the reels taken apart, working on grinding blades and replacing bearings for those. Capital items, Jeremy is getting quotes next week for the removal of the willow trees on the course. Golf cart fleet, as you guys know, we approved that and placed that order. We received the wiring and the new brackets for the GPS units actually today. So tentatively, we're hoping the end of March for delivery of the carts and the installation of the GPS units. Those are our existing GPS units, they're not new ones. We're just transferring them over. Our winter bags league started yesterday. 19 teams are in this session. That's down a little bit from the fall one where we had 24, but it's still a good turnout. Our business was pretty good last night for the first night. And then lastly, I know we did have a couple of warmer days in January. For us looking at the long-term success of the course and the grounds and the risk that damage was possible that could affect conditions in the spring, we made the decision not to open on those days. We will continue to monitor conditions, and when we feel comfortable that the threat is minimal to the course, that is when we will open.
Any questions or comments for Tom?
How long do you keep applications for employment? And are they at your Fox Run facility or are they kept in human resources?
I have applications in my office, so at least for the last 2 to 3 years in my office.
And do you see any potential openings that we should inform the public on?
We've been looking at that. Actually, that's what we kind of talked about this week with me, Dennis, and Janet. I know at the driving range we're going to have, it looks like 2 spots that we're going to be hiring for. Starters and rangers we didn't hire last year, and I don't know that we're going to hire this year. Even if we don't bring back some of the guys we had, we're trying to scale that back a little bit, and maybe instead of having in some of the slower days, not having the staff there if the play doesn't dictate having the staff there. So that might be an area that's determined by play as the season gets going. If we see that rounds are ticking up and it's busier on the courts and we need more play, then we might hire additional rangers as we get to May or June. Pro shop, I know I'm gonna need somebody in the pro shop, at least one person there. And then kitchen help, we always put out applications for kitchen help.
And do you feel that the policies and procedures on you hiring there are fair? Meaning, will you accept the referral from a current employee that's already at Fox Run before somebody that's had an application sitting there for a couple of years? Or do you actually look for the best candidate?
I think that in general, we're gonna look at the applications and we're gonna hire the person that's best qualified for the position. If somebody, and when we look at it, we're gonna look at everything. If somebody has never played golf, I mean, that's gonna be something against them. I don't want somebody that doesn't know about golf necessarily working at the golf course. If there's between 2 people, and one's played golf, one knows the course, and one knows the customers, I think that person's more qualified. And those are things that we'll assess when we meet with them or talk to them and when we hire for those positions.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what we want. I've got to ask the questions, just make sure that,
Right.
I can answer that to other people.
Anything else for Tom Foss? All right, seeing none. This will be the first business service update, which I hope to be many, many more thrown at you,
Yes.
is Brad Schultz.
Thank you very much. I guess I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the board, Executive Director Busby, for the opportunity to continue serving the residents of, in the community, as well as all our participants here in my new role, so thank you very much. Continuing with my update, finance and HR both busy working on closing out 2018 and year-end work, as well as beginning the new year for 2019 with new deductions. We had 2 new full-time employees start, the aforementioned youth manager and Irene Fasciano, as well as the new finance manager started on January 4th, Kelly Rep. Always check our website for current job openings as they are posted on there. IT will begin our migration to Google G Suite on January 21st, starting with email and then moving on to other services. IT has also begun participating in a network of other local and county and state government agencies known as MS Isaac, essentially a clearinghouse for information on cybersecurity. So we're excited about that new membership, and nicest thing about it is no cost to the Park District. Safety, we were awarded the 2018 Prederma Loss Control Award. We got the highest reward, $1,500 cash reward. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Take it easy. It's his first time, but any questions or comments for Brad? Nice. Moving forward, we're going to Executive Director update, Tom Busby.
Yes, so yesterday we had a outstanding meeting with a company called Sports Engine. As you know, we have in the 2019 capitals to redo our website. And as we met with the 7 athletic groups last year, we talked about the website and bringing those into our webpage eventually. And anyway, it was a great meeting. I thought the company was outstanding, and I believe that it will service the needs of the athletic groups. So we will continue to move forward. I'm not sure if we're gonna bring another company out because I thought it was very reasonably priced, and they do a number of athletic groups. And, you know, I thought the meeting went very well. The second thing is to talk about the 2019 capitals. As Ben mentioned, there was a meeting the other day with staff to go over that, but I just want to mention to the public some of our larger items in the 2019 calendar year that we plan to accomplish. So in no particular order, we have in the budget to complete the skate park over at Audubon. We have a playground for the 2 to 5-year-olds at Clark Park. We have the North Playground at Claremont School. We have storm sewer improvements at Jensen Park. We plan to install a new fitness floor, a roof replacement at 140 Lively. As Tom already mentioned, the golf carts at Fox Run, and the green mowers that were approved tonight. We also have money in there for A&E fees for the golf maintenance facility study. The master plan is that was mentioned, and the website. So those are just a few of the items in the 2019 budget, but some of the larger priced items. And then last, I would like to welcome Brad. I know Brad will do a great job, and look forward to working with him, and I'm sure he'll be here for many, many years. So, welcome.
Any questions for Tom?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nope, you go.
It's gonna segue into old business, but during the committee of the whole, you were talking a little bit about QR, and I didn't hear it all. So what is the next steps with QR? Because obviously, I'm more frustrated than anybody else that this has dragged on for multiple years.
Great. So late last year, Commissioner Cook, Commissioner Walls, and I met with a committee at QR. We reached a what I think will be a tentative agreement brought it back to our board, in which you guys agreed to the conditions that we discussed. It was put in writing, and I first sent it via email and then hand-delivered it over to Father Fred. He was gonna take that to the Archdiocese for their approval. I'm sure with the holidays, it probably taking a little bit longer than what was expected, but I plan to give Father Fred a call and just see where we sit with that. But I'm confident that they will approve it, at least it sure sounded that way when we met with them, and I think it's a great agreement. It's a 10-year agreement between us and QR.
And Tom, you didn't get any feedback from the letter that we submitted that's going to the Archdiocese. They were happy with the way we phrased it, or what
Right.
we came back with in writing,
Mhm.
that there were no changes or questions on that.
That's correct.
From the local board.
That's correct.
Okay, so we're just basically waiting for the Archdiocese to give their approval.
Right. And at the original meeting, they thought it'd take 30 days, but like I said, with the holidays, I'm sure, it'll take a little bit longer.
That's my recollection. I would say the meeting was more than 30 days ago, right? But when the three of us left, it was a consensus by everybody in the room,
Right.
which was probably 8 to 10 parishioners on whatever committee they call it. I don't want to misspeak. And then Father Fred. I didn't get any feeling other than that we've pretty much finally reached the finish line on this, and both were agreeable. And when they said 30 days, like, we kind of chuckled a little bit because they're not as used to the stuff maybe as we are. And I said, well, there's no way this is gonna be 30 days, but I still felt really good about it. So I believe it's in the attorney's hands, right?
No, it's,
Or did we get past that?
oh yeah, we're past that.
So-
It's over at QR at this point in time. Staff, Tammy Miller, and I talked in regards to some of the conditions in there, and then also spoke with Ben as well in regards to some of the conditions. So staff, we're preparing to move forward with this agreement.
So, I mean, I second you, I agree with you in the fact that how frustrating this has been, but I think we're finally to the point where I don't even really think about it anymore. It's not a worry to me. And if it comes that doesn't work, it'll be a much more major worry than it ever has been before.
Well,
If that makes
we've been
sense.
giving ourselves some internal deadlines, and usually we want to have another plan well before Memorial Day when we open up Rainbow Falls. And yes, we can talk to the high school and we can talk to the village, but again, we always seem to be waiting for them. We've had parishioners in the audience thinking that it was our fault that this dialogue hasn't been taking place, or that, or we were being unfair to Queen of the Rosary. And it's been anything but, and I think we need to continue to get that message out. For 4 years, all I keep hearing is, we'll take a look at it, and they'll have an attorney look at it, and the Archdiocese looks at it, and then one priest looks at it, and then the father has to look at it, and then there has to be a committee for Queen of the Rosary, while the whole time, we've been entrusting just one individual on our end, the executive director. So it gets very frustrating, is correct.
I will not take away the fact that it's frustrating. But what I am saying is,
You see light at the end of the tunnel.
well, I see a huge light. And the reason why I say that is because, let's just say this final product doesn't get kicked back to us saying a stamp of approval from the Archdiocese. The gentlemen and ladies that were in that room with Father Fred, if we were to go to them today and said, listen, we're getting a little nervous, we're getting, close to Memorial Day, let's work out a 1-year deal. I don't know, Tom, do you think that would be an issue with the people in that room?
No, once again, to give some benefit of the doubt to the Archdiocese Church also, there's been quite a bit of turnover there, 3 different pastors since we've started the negotiations. We've even had different proposals, from buying the land to leasing the land to a variety of different options for them to consider, which also had to go up to their chain of command. So, once again, I think the feeling we got at this last meeting was very promising. I think they have a pastor there that's gonna be around for a while. They have their board together, that looked at it and wants to get the deal done. I'm pleased that there was no feedback, or that nothing came back with the actual written proposal that we sent. Because anytime you have a meeting what you say in the meeting, what comes in writing, doesn't know, you know, they don't always agree. There was nothing in there that they disagreed with. And so to me, yeah, it's a matter of just a rubber stamp from the diocese, so.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you, what I guess
Okay.
is I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It's just, I'm not ready to panic quite yet.
No, I think there was
We
a
have a
good faith
solution.
effort recently, and I appreciate that on both sides, so I'm comfortable right where we're at right now.
Okay. Any other questions for Tom?
Yep. The website, thing you mentioned, was there discussion with them regarding, like, travel baseball has that, you know, cause they get that league, the Mid-Suburban.
MSBL.
Yeah, MSBL, yeah.
So that's currently on Sports Engine?
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay, what about soccer? Cause don't they have, didn't Effie say they had some,
I'm not
Cork or
sure
something.
what program they use. I don't know if Tammy,
So
if you
they
know.
contacted, the same gentleman that
Okay.
had, Sports Engine Soccer has, so I know that they're interested in looking at that.
Oh,
Effie
okay.
and AJ contacted.
yeah, I just wanna make sure if there's any special requirements that they need right now, that we're making
Right.
sure up front that those can be accommodated.
Right.
as
So if you
opposed to
remember,
find out
Ralph,
later.
when we met with all the associations in September and October, and many of them mentioned Sports Engine as the program that they would prefer. Now, some of them weren't on it at the time, and I could see why, because I think it's a great program, to be honest with you.
Okay, cool.
Soccer uses Team Snap, but we did meet with Sports Engine, and we did like what they had to say.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Basketball uses them.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for Tom? Okay. We're at old business. Any old business?
Yeah, I have some. Tom, you and I have talked about once, you know, what I see when I walk into the pavilion, you know, between people standing around. Do you ever see any organizational changes coming up there between building attendants and janitorial staff and who reports to who? Or are you content with what staff is telling you or what you see?
Well, I don't see any immediate changes at this point in time. I know that there's been some discussion here and there, you know, do we change some responsibility, you know, maybe like a building attendant, you know, can they do something else? You know, at this point in time, I don't see any changes over the next month, but yeah, you know, I think that's something that we always look at, is trying to improve efficiencies.
Okay.
Any new business? Any more old business? Okay, seeing here none. Any new business?
Well, I don't know if it's new business, it can slide into old, but I want to make sure it's on the minutes. Tom, what I'd like from you is all emails and exchanges between AJ Collier and Tammy Miller that has my name on it, or any other board member's name on it for the last 18 months that we weren't originally CC'd on.
Between AJ,
And Tammy, that may have my name on it or any other board member's name on it that we weren't originally CC'd. And then secondary, any emails or exchanges between AJ Collier and Deb D'Onofrio or anybody at that staff that may have my name on there or any other board members. Thank you. That's all I have for new business or old business.
You good, Tom?
yeah, I'm just writing it
No,
down.
just making sure. Okay. All right, we're at payment of the bills.
Before we go, just,
Finally,
I'm sorry,
we're not at finally.
I'm sorry.
payment of the bills.
Does any of the audience members have anything that they thought of since the public participation that they would like to add or say or share? No? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at payment of the bills. 1, 2, 3, 4
Wait.
dates. What's wrong?
I'm kidding.
Did you have something, Ralph?
I'm kidding.
All right, payment of the bills, December 10th, 2018, in the amount of $122,207.10. December 13th, 2018, in the amount of $88,648.39. December 20th, 2018, in the amount of $62,040.51. and January 3rd, 2019, in the amount of $155,870.75.
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cook?
Yep,
Commissioner
yes.
Bianchi?
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
President Wall?
Yes. I'll need a motion and a second for adjournment of this meeting.
So
Can we hold off? I've got a couple questions on the bills.
Yeah,
Tom?
we can not adjourn yet. We did approve them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Tom, can you tell me, or get me a number for the pirate ship at Pirates Cove on how much we've actually spent from 2016, 17, and 18, so that I know what the total cost was to renovate that ship?
Sure.
All right, and then I've got a Lalo's Restaurant, an $830.
Lalo's.
Lalo's, $830 charge for some communication presentation, so if you can get the details on that. for
Can
me.
I see that bill?
Yes.
Tom?
And I can leave that with you.
Is that-
I know what that was.
Okay.
That was when we had the, Business Services University and the safety training.
Okay, right. So back in October, we had Business Services put on a training for the staff. And along with that, we had a safety training. And so this was the lunch, because that went basically, I'll say, from 8 or 8:30 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. Did Action Fence, this one was early in the year, boat dock improvements for Pirates Cove? You know, it says dock, rope, and ballards, and I'll leave this with you, Tom, but, you know, $18,000 seems like a lot for ropes and bollards, so, I don't know if we're bidding this stuff out, or if that was just given to Action Fence, but if you could look into that for me.
So we got multiple price on that, and they came in at the lowest price.
Okay, so that was bid, that's all I wanted to do, is make sure. it was
Well, it
bid.
wasn't actually a bid where we,
It's a,
Oh, you just called
Question.
multiple people and had them
Yeah.
come out?
right.
yeah. And that, those are very, very expensive, fencing, rope and bollards. It's just, expensive. It's not like a true link fence.
And then my last one was on Fox Run Maintenance. Are we done with the WT group? We got Williams doing the majority of our work, so, the $7,400 bill for the WT group, is that something that Williams needs specialty? Or it's not their specialty, so they go to the WT, or is that something completely different?
Right, so if you remember at a previous conversation when we were talking about the golf maintenance building, we talked about moving the utilities.
Okay.
And so they WT needed to do a site plan, and then they did an analysis on the utilities. So when we finally decide on a plan, we'll have that information. We would need it at some point in time anyway. And so this is kind of getting ahead of the game,
Okay,
so that we know what that potential cost will be.
okay.
Is that it?
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, now I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Bianchi?
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
President Wall?
Yes, our next meeting will be January 24th, 2019 at 7 PM. This meeting is adjourned.